They say that Hollywood is a town built on dreams, and one of its greatest dreamers was Walt Disney. His life was filled with both exhilarating success and heartbreaking setbacks. But he never gave up. He just kept moving toward that great big, beautiful tomorrow. The story of Walt's life is truly a magical one, and no one could tell it quite like Walt himself.
My dad worked as a carpenter in the World's Fair building. He eventually ended up in Chicago as a contractor, and he was doing that when I was born, December 1901. But my dad made some money as a contractor, and he wanted to get back to the farm. They finally ended up buying this farm in Marceline, Missouri. It was a beautiful farm, but it was not the kind of farm to make a living on. Things got pretty tough on the farm, and my dad had a sickness. So my dad sold the farm, took the money, and went to Kansas City. And my dad bought this Kansas City Star route. And they gave me a route. I was about 9 or 10 when I started that. In winter, we'd go out at 3:30 in the morning right after a blizzard, or in a blizzard, or in pouring rain. It didn't matter. I did that for 6 years. It was tough.
The constant hardship took a heavy toll on the Disney family. One by one, the children began to leave home. And one day, Walt woke up to find his best friend, his brother Roy, had gone as well. So Walt did something that he would do throughout his life when things got tough. He took a chance.
My brother had joined the Navy, so I wanted to join him. Well, I was still a year too young. I was 16. Finally, this kid come in to me very excited. He said, "There's something just forming here that you and I can get in." I said, "What is it?" He says, "An ambulance unit." I was in Paris, 3rd of September, when Pershing pulled out. Paris, which had been this exciting thing with all these soldiers and things, suddenly there wasn't a soldier to be seen. And I suddenly became very lonesome. So then I went in and put a request in to be discharged. So I hit Chicago. That's where my parents were living. And I said, "Dad, I want to be an artist." And my dad, he just couldn't buy that. So I pulled stakes and moved to Kansas City. Roy was in Kansas City working in a bank. One of the fellows working with Roy said, "I have a couple of friends that have an art shop." So I went up with these samples, and there were all these corny things I'd done in France. Well, by gosh, they hired me. I mean, right on the spot. So I took the camera home, and then I started experimenting on my own there. So then I went into this Kansas City Film Ad Company. So that was where I got started in the animation business. So I was thinking if I had something with a novel twist, I might crack the market. But I still couldn't get anywhere with it. I failed. I learned a lot out of that. And I think it's important to have a good art failure when you're young. So I packed all my worldly goods in a cardboard suitcase. I went to Hollywood, arriving there with just $40 in my pocket from my Kansas City ventures. Now, my brother Roy was already in Los Angeles. Both of us were unemployed. We solved the problem by going into business for ourselves. We established the first animated cartoon studio in Hollywood.
Walt's dreams were finally coming true. He had his first big hit, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And he had married the love of his life, Lillian, an ink and paint artist at the studio who shared his dreams. Then he was dealt a devastating blow. On a business trip to New York City, he learned that he had lost ownership of Oswald due to a contract loophole. And to make matters worse, the distributor had signed away Walt's artists. Most people would have given up right then and there. Not Walt Disney. He sent a telegram to his brother Roy. Everything okay. And as he headed home to California, something happened along the way that would change things forever.
Mickey Mouse came into our life. he popped out of my mind onto a drawing pad on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood at a time when the business fortunes of my brother Roy and myself were at lowest ebb and disaster seemed right around the corner. His first actual screen appearance was at the Old Colony Theater in New York in Steamboat Willie. He was the first cartoon character to stress personality, and I thought of him from the first as a distinct individual. I did the voice.
Hang on, pal. Here we go.
Mickey was simply a little personality assigned to the purposes of laughter. Mickey fitted the need exactly. He brought in the money which saved the day. He enabled us to explore our medium, and he paved the way for our more elaborate screen ventures.
By nature, I'm an experimenter, so I had another idea which was plaguing my brain. It was the Silly Symphonies. It was a series without a central character.
Every one of us was a new type of subject to give us something to reach out and accomplish something different. Then we started distributing both Mickey Mouse and the Silly Symphonies. It was Nip and Tuck getting them out.
Walt began to push himself and his artists, and when he wasn't working, he was worrying about the future. And then the inevitable happened. In 1931, he had what he called a heck of a breakdown. So he did something unique for Walt Disney. He took time off and took his wife on the first vacation they had ever had. When they returned, he was a new man, filled with ideas for the future.
I saw the handwriting on the wall there. It was a short subject with just a filler on any program. Now, if I could crack the feature field, then I could do things. I had done a little story research on different fairy tales I might do, and Snow White was one of them. I thought it was the perfect story. I had the heavy.
It's a magic wishing apple. Now, make a wish.
I had the prince and the girl, the romance. I had the sympathetic dwarfs and things. We started Snow White sometime late 35, and it was around 2 years in the making. We had the family fortune. We had everything wrapped up in Snow White. In fact, the banker, I think, was losing more sleep than I was. We had a big premiere at the Carthay Circle Theater, big, grand Hollywood premiere. All of Hollywood brass turned out for a cartoon.
The daddy of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is going to be presented this beautiful statue. Isn't that bright and shiny?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Aren't you proud of it, Mr. Disney?
I'm so proud, I think I'll bust.
With the profits of Snow White, I built a studio. Two years later, I was almost broke. But I had all these pictures and words.
Pinocchio?
There are no strings on me.
Bambi? Fantasia?
Well, that was when the war came. The whole world was collapsing then. So many of my boys went through the service. So I just practically stopped my feature production. That's all I could do. And after the war, it was quite a problem picking up the pieces. I knew that diversifying the business would be the salvation of it. So I tried various things. I wanted to go beyond the cartoon. And I thought if I could get into the live end, that there's things I could do.
Stand by, engines.
Come on, yeah, boy, get him!
Not bad, eh, Charlie? Let's open her up and see what she'll really do.
wanted enough different types of things that I could fall on my nose at one of these pictures, but I had another one right behind it that would hit.
After a long concentration on live action and cartoon films, we decided to try something that would employ about every trick we learned in the making of films. We would combine cartoon, live action, in enormous fantasy, Mary Poppins. As the original Mary Poppins budget of $5 million continued to grow, I never saw a sad face around the studio. Even my brother Roy was happy. This made me nervous. And the horrible thought struck me. Suppose the staff had finally conceded that I knew what I was doing.
Once again, Walt Disney had created storytelling magic to reinvent family entertainment. But even then, he wasn't finished. He had a bigger dream in mind.
Well, it came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things, and I would take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places, and as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where the parents and the children could have fun together. So that's how Disneyland started. It takes a lot of money to make these dreams come true. And we had everything mortgaged, including my family. I started with many ideas, threw them away, started all over again. And eventually it evolved into what you see today as Disneyland. But it all started from a daddy with two daughters wondering where he could take them, where he could have a little fun with them too. The heart means a lot to me in that something will never be finished, something that I can keep developing and adding to. Not only can I add things, but even the trees will keep growing. The thing will get more beautiful every year. And I knew that if I did anything like the park, I had to have some kind of a medium like television to let the people know about it.
The world is a carousel of color, history, comedy, fantasy. There's drama and mirth, there's old Mother Earth, with all of her secrets to see. The miracle of imagination, the marvels of earth, sea and sky. These wonders untold are ours to behold in the funny world, the sunny world, the wonderful world of color.
And now your host, Walt Disney. Today, I want to share with you some of our ideas for Disney World. Here in Florida, we have something special we never enjoyed at Disneyland, a blessing of size. There's enough land here to hold all the ideas and plans we can possibly imagine. We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
Throughout his storied career, Walt never gave up, despite the many challenges along the way. For his visionary work, he received hundreds of awards from all corners of the globe, more Academy Awards than any individual in history, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom for a lifetime of inspiring others. He created dreams that live on today for millions around the world. But with all of that, when asked to name his greatest reward, Walt's reply was surprisingly humble.
Well, my greatest reward, I think, is that I've been able to build this wonderful organization, and also to have the public appreciate and accept what I've done all these years. That is a great reward. But all individuals are different. I had a brother who I really envied because he was a mailman. But he was the one that had all the fun. He had himself a trailer, and he used to go off and go fishing, and he didn't worry about payrolls, heard story, he just had picture grocers or anything, and he was the happy one. I always said he's the smart Disney. You know, I was stumped one day when the little boy asked, "Do you draw Mickey Mouse?" And I had to admit I do not draw anymore. Well, then you think of all the jokes and ideas. No, I said, I don't do that. Finally, he looked at me and said, "Mr. Disney, just what do you do?" Well, I said, sometimes I think of myself as a little bee. I go from one area of the studio to another and gather pollen and sort of stimulate everybody. I guess that's the job I do. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in developing ideas into realities, but there's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting. We're interested in doing things that are fun, in bringing pleasure and especially laughter to people. But I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. That was all started by a mouse.
Like a book of love.